All right, so if you like films or if you like movies, you're definitely familiar with this shot. This is from Jaws. This is the famous dolly zoom or Zolly shot. So let's go ahead and just play it out. Yep. So it goes really fast. Other filmmakers have been doing this with different results, but it's actually really quick in the Jaws version. It's only, let's see here, 3 seconds, a little under 3 seconds, like 2.5 seconds. But basically, it's to do it practically, you have to do it with the dolly, with a zoom lens, and then somebody has to be grabbing focus. And so you zoom out while you dolly in, and you maintain focus, and you get this really crazy, like world rushing up at you look, where it sort of pulls the main character out of the background. You can also play it backwards to have the main character basically like drop into their reality kind of thing. It's played both directions. But in Jaws, it's a really technically difficult shot to pull off in camera, just because there's a lot going on. But there's no really good way to replicate it. So I thought I'd try. I have me looking like a sort of an angry cat, not wanting his picture taken. And this is actually the same image that I used in my iPhone depth of field video, where I tried to do fake background blur by isolating the image using a depth map, which is this thing. Yeah, so there's your depth map. Doesn't really matter. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. Depth map is just a way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. But basically, I just have this top layer is just the cutout of me, and then these other 3 layers are different versions of the background. And so next layer down is just that, and it just sort of moves. It zooms out and moves over, and I try to keep my head out of it. The next layer down is that. So again, it's left side, right side, and then this background is just a clean frame of what's actually happening. So the head, the disembodied head, and the background are the same thing. The only thing is the background actually has a background in it. So yeah, it's not a perfect effect, and I realize I'm having to re-render it now because I messed with it, but. You know, it's not perfect, and if I had more time or if I was working harder, I could fix sort of some of the keying that didn't work very well. But other than, there's obviously a hidden C-stand over here that needs to be comped out somehow. It kind of sells what you're going for. So the world is zooming out. Yeah, I don't really have the character getting any closer, although I think there is a lens adjustment. Let me look. Nope, there is not. So there's not even a lens adjustment. So literally the end of this comp is the actual frame, and so I just started working backwards to try to make, like a wild image. So this is him sitting in the chair, and then as it goes forward, this is where the chaos happens. Kind of a similar thing, but obviously it's not exactly the same thing because you have him moving around a little bit. He gets slightly larger in frame, which is kind of the trick. You kind of want to keep him the same size as best as possible, but you also want to be able to show the distortion of him being on the wide angle lens, where he's sticking way out. And I didn't really pull that off here. I was using a super wide angle lens, but I wasn't sitting that close because I was going for portraits. It's neither here nor there. So with a little bit of more work, and if anybody knows After Effects or Fusion, I believe is the version in DaVinci Resolve, you could probably comp it correctly and make it work. Meh. I found a much more efficient way to do it, and that is this. So let's just go ahead and play it full screen. Yeah. So what did I do? Very simply. It's the same comps as before, so this is just the floating head, and then this is just a JPEG image. And so literally, if you just move this JPEG image over, I just bust out my camera and got just a clean frame of the image, basically the same spot. Not exactly the same. It's actually a lot wider, ironically, but not even the same day. The white balance doesn't even look the same. But yeah, it's just a clean frame. And what I did was I comped my floating head, my disembodied head, over it with a little bit of I believe I did a lens correction. Yeah, just a tiny lens correction that by the end of it gets, actually, looks like it starts The lens correction starts clean because I analyzed it and it gave me 0.49, which basically means the camera was already pretty flat fielded. Not that that matters. To a little bit of a distortion, and so the final result gives you this wild. Oh, it's not going to do it because it's not rendered now, but gives you the wild background, floating background. So I'll wait for this to load in, and I'll show that. Yeah, so here it is again. And yeah, I could definitely clean up the key. There's this weird picture frame that I think that's probably this picture frame if I had to guess. And it, and there's a weird key going on. But other than that, I did a little bit of it looks like I did a little bit of a zoom, or at least a position change. Yeah, it wasn't even a zoom, it was a position change and then a bit of a lens correction. And that's just on this top layer, and then the bottom layer again is just this still frame here. And playing it against this, obviously it's a lot more dramatic doing this, and it plays faster too, because here's real speed. But honestly, I buy this. This could even stand to go faster, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, compared to Jaws. But obviously, most of the time, filmmakers don't do it quite as fast as Spielberg did on Jaws, because that's so fast, which was kind of the point. So there's the whole thing. So, it's not perfect, and obviously getting in a camera is a cleaner way to work, but as far as just a person sitting in their apartment, I buy it, I think this works. It kind of smacks a little bit of like Adult Swim in the mid 2000s a little bit, because it looks obviously like it's disembodied, and I think just cleaning up the key a little bit might help that. But yeah, so if you can't afford to, or you don't have the dolly zoom, or if you just don't have resources to do a dolly zoom, there's ways to do it in post. I think this is the easiest way. If you're a big After Effects person, there's definitely more elaborate ways to do it, but if you just want to get it to where it sells, I buy it. So, yeah, here's half speed. So what do you guys think? How did I do? Is this just a waste of everybody's time? I buy it. I think there's a really specific time and place to do a dolly zoom, and so I don't do it often, but just knowing I have that in my back pocket, as long as somebody took a still photograph of the set, nice to know, nice to have. Yeah, catch you guys next time.